Welcome to the FWD Think Tank podcast, a place of hope, inspiration, and education around holistic health and healing. I'm your host, Jamie Mazza, a holistic health coach, mental health advocate, and dancer. Join me as I share out-of-the-box conversations with integrative doctors, healers, and exceptional forward-thinking individuals thriving on the other side of their health challenges, as well as stories from my own personal healing journey. Thank you for tuning in. I'm so happy you're here. To all of my friends in the Western New York area, this message is for you. You may remember me bringing on one of my beloved integrative doctors, Dr. Leonard Kaplan, who is the founder of OWM Integrative Wellness in Buffalo, New York. And he is putting on a very special event at the OWM space on Thursday, October 9th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. This is in partnership with the Nightbirdie Foundation. This is a special fundraiser. The Nightbirdie Foundation is a nonprofit dedicated to helping young women with breast cancer have access to integrative, whole person cancer care to provide services for these women who otherwise cannot afford them. These are services such as integrative oncology consultations, access to therapies like mistletoe, metabolic IVs, hyperthermia and ozone, nutritional and mind-body support, spiritual and emotional healing modalities, and so much more. I cannot tell you how impactful these treatments were when I worked with Dr. Kaplan for 6 weeks last year. It was truly incredible. I never felt better than I did in this entire year and a half plus journey that I've been on. So this is such a special way to give back to women who desperately need whole body care. And this event will again be happening Thursday, October 9th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. at OWM Integrative Wellness in Buffalo, New York. So tickets are available for $35. These include live entertainment. There's going to be live music, a magic show, food tastings, raffle, and the impact of community. Sponsorship is also available in support of the event and the foundation. The Nightbirdie Foundation will also be offering guests a heartfelt opportunity to nominate a friend or a loved one currently facing breast cancer to receive a special gift of hope. If you can't make the event in person, but you're drawn to support this cause, you can also make a charitable donation and learn more at www.owmintegrativewellness.com/Nightbirdie. That's www.owmintegrativewellness.com/NIGHTBIRDIE. Thank you so much, friends. If this is something that can impact or make a difference in somebody's life, I think it's well worth it. Share this message, share this link. I will include all of it in the episode show notes below. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you can help support this cause. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and I know Dr. Kaplan and his team at OWM appreciate it as well. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the FWD Think Tank, kicking off season 3 with a solo episode. I have to be honest, life has thrown me some health curveballs the last few months. So much so that I felt like I was a tortoise retracting into my shell at certain points over the summer. I started this podcast to share my journey, and I think what I've realized is sometimes I feel compelled to do so, and sometimes I feel very compelled to keep those details private. I am here on the other side of some of those curveballs, and after a very wonderful trip overseas to celebrate a friend's wedding and have a little extended anniversary trip for my husband and I, feeling refreshed, revived, and ready to have more conversations on this platform. I developed this podcast to go beyond my own story, to bring on healers, doctors, thought-provoking people in the wellness industry, other people who want to share their personal stories. So that is really why I'm here, is to help create an impact in the world of wellness. There has been so much heaviness happening in the world, in our country. We're all overwhelmed, overstimulated, overtaxed with emotional charge. I had to have a second surgery this summer, a much smaller procedure, but unfortunately something that was completely unexpected and definitely threw me for a loop. Following that surgery, I spent an entire week off of social media. It was something I needed for my mental health. I didn't realize how much time I was actually spending on my device. It was a great way to disconnect and to really help bring my body back into a state of calm, into a state of safety, especially after something so vulnerable as a surgery. Your body gets cut open. Your entire system is doing its best to help you heal. So I really focused on taking care of myself during that time and told myself, regardless, I was going to give myself a break for the month of August from recording to have some time for me to enjoy the rest of the summer. And knowing that August is typically a quiet month where people are kind of getting in their last minute vacations, getting kids ready for school, all those things may not be fully ready to listen. But now that we're all back into work mode, school mode, all those things, here we are. I want to open up this season talking about dealing with health curveballs. And this can be health curveballs, but this can really be any curveball that life throws at us. Because let's be honest, we think that we have control over so many things in our life. But for me, as somebody who was 36 years old and got this huge bomb dropped on my timeline, somebody who considered themselves a healthy individual, I mean, it's traumatic, horrific. Like, I still can't believe some of this is going on or is now a part of my life. But here we are. Some things you really can't predict or plan for. So it's learning how to go with the flow of life, unfortunately. And learning how to work with that and how to change your perspective, change your habits, change your thought process, change maybe how you operate on a day-to-day basis, maybe letting go of some things in your life. Like, we need to often pivot when life hands us lemons or curveballs, whatever you want to call them. It's inevitable for all of us. Not that we're all going to get sick someday. That's not what I'm saying. But we are more than likely, if we live a long life, going to have things that come up in our life that totally disrupt life as we knew it. And so it's in the way that you handle that and the way you choose to move through it and rebound back to yourself that makes an impact on how you move forward. The first thing I want to say about dealing with a health curveball in particular is take a moment to take in the facts before you take in the feelings, because things can get really overwhelming really quickly in the world of cancer care, in the world of conventional oncology, in the world of surgery, in the world of pharmacology, medicine, treatment as we know it. It can be startling and shake up your nervous system when you are told that there's a plot twist. It's important to take in the facts and take in what's true, because oftentimes what gets presented with those facts by whether that's your doctor or feedback from a family member or an opinion from a friend is a lot of emotional charge attached to the reaction, right? So if you can separate the facts and what you know, maybe that's scan results, blood results, something that happened in surgery, those are the facts. And then if you can separate them from the emotional reaction, and it takes a lot of conscious effort to do so, it's going to sit on your system a little bit easier, at least in the beginning. And I'm not saying ignore your feelings, because that is then my second part of all of this, right? So take in the facts first. What do we know? What do we have yet to learn? Where is the opportunity for improvement? What are, my next steps going to be? These are all the thoughts that can follow the curveball, but you don't have to do it all at once. So take a moment to separate the facts from the feelings. And then once you've done that, allow yourself to feel everything. Some people may have anger, they may have worry or fear, concern, frustration. Allow yourself to feel all those feelings, but don't internalize them. This has been a really hard lesson for me to learn after many, many years of carrying my feelings, of storing them inside, of reliving the past, rehashing, oh my God, I wish I could have done things differently. Well, you know what? That is not going to serve me ever, because we do not have the opportunity to turn back time and go back and do things differently. All we have is the present moment. We can think about the future, but worrying about the future too much takes us too far into anxiety land. So feel the feelings and then shake them off. Like, physically shake is a way to help your nervous system process emotions. So if you find yourself feeling overwhelmed or charged up, scared, or just confused, whatever, I encourage you, dance has always been my outlet, but put on a song, shake your entire body. This is actually a practice that I do when I take Qigong with my acupuncturist, Erin, and it's physical shaking. Just think of like how a dog would shake off a flea, or, when an animal is like just trying to like shake something weird off, like they shake. And this helps our nervous system, helps to tone our vagus nerve, which controls our central nervous system. Whether that's shaking, humming, singing, something to bring yourself out of that emotional charge, journal, write it down, talk to a friend if that's what you want to do. But just don't internalize it. Let it pass. Let the tears flow. Scream into a pillow. Let it out of your system and don't hold on to it. Because truthfully, the facts are that surgery, that biopsy, that round of blood work, that scan result is just a snapshot in time. And I will never forget an acupuncturist that I worked with years prior. Amy Raup told me this. And she works with a lot of women who are struggling to conceive. I'm probably totally paraphrasing. But the way I internalized it is all of these results, like your blood work is a snapshot of that day, or maybe like the 24 or 48 hours prior. So there's a lot that can influence that. And there's a lot that can change from even a weekly basis. And so that's why working with my integrative doctor, we look at lab results. We look at the trend. So we look at things month to month or every 2 to 3 months. Know that that specific result is just a moment in time. And do not ever lose hope that things can change. Things can progress in the right direction. Things can be healed. There are solutions to helping you get to a better point in your health journey. Remind yourself of that after you process those emotions. It's like, okay, eventually you get to a point where you feel a little bit more like you're walking on stable ground, and you'll be ready to receive and make a plan to move forward. But give yourself all the time you need to grieve and to process. I think that's so important, so you don't drag all those emotions through the healing journey. This was a big lesson for me, especially after starting this podcast, after putting some things out there on social media, talking about what was going on, talking about, my surgery or post-surgery, and everything that I was feeling. I want to remind you that you do not need to communicate every little bit of detail to anyone. You do not need to communicate that to your following on social media, to your best friends, to your extended family. I would recommend having 1 to 2 point people. My husband is obviously one of those people for me, because he is here with me living the day to day. And he is somebody who always makes me feel centered, grounded, supported, positive. And like, he is such a glass half full person that he's like, okay, here's what we know. Now let's make the plan. And the plan always makes you feel better so that you're not sitting in this uncertainty. And then I do have my sisters or a couple of friends that I can talk to that understand some of the medical terminology and don't pry too much, because everybody means well when they ask, so how are you? Oh, what are your next steps? So what's your plan? I am a Capricorn, and maybe this is a Capricorn trait. Maybe this is an older sibling trait. Maybe this is just a Jamie trait. I don't like being told what to do. I often get overwhelmed with too many people's opinions. When people want to know my business like that, it's like, I'm not asking you what's going on. It's a privacy thing, and it is a protection of your peace. I think the other part of it that I've realized is when I'm uncertain and still figuring that path out, it's too overwhelming for me to share. But something about me as a personality is when people do ask, it's hard for me not to give context or details about what's going on, because I am an open book, which is why I'm here with this podcast. But don't feel like you need to communicate every update. When I got news that I needed a second surgery, I was shell-shocked. I got a little bit depressed, and I was feeling a little hopeless. I was really upset and devastated to have a second surgery in 6 months to the day of my major surgery. It made my head spin, and I really retracted. I took a break from social media. I had to remind myself that even though I felt this internal pressure to talk about all of this, I then remembered the quote that says, show your scars, not your wounds. And what that means is when you're in the thick of it and you're going through the process, there's no guarantees sometimes for how things are going to go. We have the best intentions of healing ourselves and moving forward and making everything go in the right positive direction, but we can't control everything. And so sometimes when you're in it, it is not the right moment to talk about it to people. Everybody's different. But when you can talk in retrospect, in hindsight, and you're showing the scar instead of the open wound, it maybe is a little bit easier because you've already processed it. You've already been there. You've already closed that chapter. We moved through it, if that makes sense. This is another big lesson. Nobody, not your doctor, not your spouse, not your mother, not your father, not your siblings, not your oncologist, not your therapist, not your massage body worker, whoever. Nobody knows your body better than you. I mean that with every ounce of my being. Nobody knows your body better than you. Your body is always communicating. Symptoms are not the problem. Symptoms are your body's signal to tell you that something is going on under the surface. And that is why I believe it is more important now than ever to advocate for yourself. Tell your doctor what you need. And my surgeon said it, and I really appreciated it. He said, I work for you. And I'll never forget that because it can be really humbling and fear-inducing to sit face to face with a conventional doctor, especially because they don't always see eye to eye with how I look at things, root causes or certain test results or whatever. It's not always eye to eye for the way that I like to look at the problem. And so it can get really intimidating to sit in the patient chair when you think, oh, they have all this experience. Oh, they know better than me. Oh, they've treated these things before. Well, they don't know me and my body personally. So I say this from experience. I late March to honestly leading up to my second surgery in July, experienced significant pain after my surgery, which was in February. So it didn't kick in until the 8-week mark. And there were many, many days, especially in the afternoon, evening time, I would cry because I was so uncomfortable. I ended up having to turn to gabapentin, take some drugs. It helped me sleep through the night, but it was not helping the pain. So I continued to advocate. I was looking at how my ribs were healing, how it felt to do certain movements, at what point I would get fatigued in the day. I constantly communicated that to my surgeon and to his nurse. I love my surgeon so much. I'm eternally grateful for him. But he is definitely, and sorry, Dr. Serfolio, I don't know if you're watching this playback, probably not because you're busy, but he is definitely a type A person. He is somebody that's like, just push through it. You're fine. You're young. Just keep moving. I'm grateful that his nurse was willing to listen to me and have conversations. I asked her, should I be going to physical therapy? There was a lot that we removed in this surgery. It was quite extensive and I don't feel comfortable. And I refuse to believe that this is as good as it's going to get. And so not only did having this second surgery, by some grace of God, relieve a bit of that pain, but I also advocated for myself, asked the nurse, please write me a script for physical therapy. Even though my doctor was like, you don't need it, you're fine. Maybe it will, help a little bit, but it's not going to cure anything. Sure. But I'm a young girl, woman, young, right? Youngish, middle age. I don't know what I am anymore. Looking to take my health back, looking to take my physical fitness back. I am not at a point where I feel comfortable going into a group fitness class. I loved that. That was such a part of my being and my essence. I miss it, but I don't feel physically comfortable. I'm not there yet. I really think that physical therapy can help me. Sure enough, I go to physical therapy. I get paired with somebody who has experience with my type of surgeries or injuries. She's like, oh yeah, the reason why you feel like your ribs look a little out of alignment is because we need to work on strengthening your upper abdominal muscle. I knew that because the surgeon said that's likely what the problem is, but here are tips on how we can strengthen it. Here are exercises you can do at home. She gave me the guidebook to help me feel strong, give me a little piece of hope. We're working on my breathing. I am an A+ student. If you give me the actions to take at home, if you give me the stretches, the exercises, the breathing, I will practice it. And I will tell you the satisfaction and enforcement that I made the right decision when I see her acknowledging my improvement and the physical difference in how my body's responding to these exercises is so satisfying. Only you know what you need. So don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to ask. Your oncologist is not going to know anything about surgery. Your surgeon is not going to know anything about physical therapy. Your acupuncturist is not going to know that much about oncology. Your nutritionist is not going to know that much about physical fitness. Sometimes we look to the wrong expert for the advice. Don't be afraid to consult with a different expert in the field that you feel like you need support around. And please advocate for yourself, because only you can help yourself. At the end of the day, not your parents, not your significant other, not your best friend. Only you can choose to take that action to make change in your life. Please advocate for what you need, and know that how you are feeling in this moment, if it's shitty, if you're in a bad place, if you've had a few health curveballs thrown your way, know that this is not your forever. This is just a moment in time, and it can and will get better if you believe it and if you choose to act on it. You may not feel ready to immediately take action. After the surgery, we got feedback that we were not hoping to hear. And for my own sanity and protection of my peace, I'm choosing not to share that level of detail. I don't think it's needed. Just know I'm still on this journey in some ways, and I'm still not on this journey in other ways. There have been a lot of things that have been accomplished that have been a huge step of progress in the right direction, but I'm still in it. I wasn't ready to have those conversations with my integrative team, with the oncologist, to figure out like what the next steps are, because I was so overwhelmed and exhausted, and also physically drained from the surgery. So I took the time that I needed, and it doesn't mean that there's people that are not going to be like in your ear, your spouse, your mother, your best friend, like, you need to act. What are you doing? What's the plan? What's the next step? Don't forget to take action. Like, no shit. Sorry, everyone. I sit with this every single day. You think I don't think about it? But I am the type of person that needs to process and then plan. If I jump into a plan too far ahead, I get ahead of myself and I get overwhelmed. You might not feel ready to take action immediately unless there's a medical emergency. Then please, please, please do what you need to do. But we often don't have to act immediately. We often have a little bit of time to do our research, to ask questions, to interview other doctors, to get second or third opinions. Whatever it is you need, move at the pace that feels right for you, because it is your life, it is your body, and it is your healing journey. Also, another tough lesson to learn. Sometimes we need to just let go of the reins. We need to relinquish control, because when we hold on to it too tight and we get tied and fixated on a very specific outcome or a very specific next step or new chapter, we get totally bamboozled when we get these health curveballs thrown at us, and it rocks our world. It rocks our nervous system. It really throws us off kilter, can throw us into a deep depression, can make us feel like we're isolated and alone and never getting out of this funk. But that's not true. And if you believe in God, or if you believe whatever, the universe, you pray to angels, your guardian angels, my strength and my faith has gotten strengthened over the last year and a half. I have turned to God multiple times and just let it go and said, I'm giving it to you, because I can't deal with this on my own. So we need to let go. We need to let go in those moments where we feel so desperate for taking that responsibility on ourselves and figuring it all out. Sometimes we just got to let it go, give it to God, give it to the universe, whatever you believe in, and let them present what's next, as long as you're paying attention. And last but not least, don't forget about the joy. Don't forget about laughing so hard that your cheeks hurt. Don't forget about taking time in your day to do something that's going to feel really peaceful, or taking a moment to enjoy a meal, or sitting with a friend, or getting out into nature, getting outside, going to watch a concert, taking a vacation if you feel up to it. Like, whatever it is that you feel like you need to do for yourself. And joy can be so micro. Joy can be making myself a matcha latte. Joy can be FaceTiming with one of my nieces or nephews. Joy can be putting on my favorite song or watching the birds outside. It can be micro. It doesn't have to be this huge, elaborate thing. Don't forget about joy, because joy is healing. Connection to people that make you feel like yourself, to people that make you feel you're in a safe space, who don't put pressure on you to perform or share if you don't want to. Find those people, get involved in an activity, do something for yourself. Over the summer, I love live music. Music is just such a part of me and always has been. And over the summer, I found in Liberty State Park that they were doing summer concert series. And I was like, this is awesome. They were doing it 2 nights a week. And Nick and I remember going to the very first one when I was in the height of my pain. We took our bikes to the park. We laid in the grass, we grounded, and we just listened to music. And it was a beautiful night. There was a breeze. We were right by the water. It was so healing. And we both danced and smiled and laughed and sang and had a great time, to the point where that became our ritual that we did most every Sunday. You have to remember that while these really terrible, unfortunate things are happening, life is still happening around you. And how you choose to live it, the purpose and the meaning that you choose to give each and every day is up to you. How you choose to fill this time that truthfully nobody knows. I always say I can get hit by a bus tomorrow. Something dramatic can happen a week from now. It's not going to be this that takes me out, which makes me realize and put life into perspective and say, all I have is now. If I choose to mope around every day, all day, feel pity for myself, exclude myself from other people, not interact, not socialize, and really be miserable, that's the life that I'm creating. How sad is that? But instead, if I focus on what I can do, I focus on where are my physical abilities now? What would make me feel happy? How can I change up my day? Can I go for a different route on my walk? Can I listen to a new podcast? Think about what's realistic for you and then figure out what's going to make you feel happy. Because no matter whether you're sick or healthy, whether you are 80 years old or 18 years old, we are all going to have things that come up in our life that throw us off, that make us question why we're here, what we're doing, how it's all going to go. It is up to us, and it is in our control how we choose to spend our time. So I want to leave you with that. I thank you so much for being here. I really look forward to sharing a lot of conversations this season that I know are going to inspire you, going to educate you, and hopefully, you get entertained along the way. So as always, if you feel this episode is helpful, please take a moment, pause, share this with somebody you know, share this with somebody who this made you think of, share this on social media, link the episode, leave a review. Please, if you enjoy this, leave a 5-star review, leave a comment. Make sure you're subscribed if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you're following if you are watching on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, so that you get notified every week. It makes such a difference to me. It means the world to me. I really want to continue to grow a bigger audience over time as I can reach more people and hopefully help make a difference in someone's life who needs it. So thank you so much for being here, friends. I will see you again soon. Take care. Did you enjoy this episode? If so, I would appreciate you taking a moment to please leave a 5-star review. Every review helps visibility with this episode to reach more people. And I am on a mission to help people learn alternate resources to support themselves in their healing journey on their road to health. So please take a moment to leave a review, leave a comment. I read every single one and I respond back. And of course, the most helpful thing you can do is to share this episode. If you found it helpful, if you found it entertaining, please share it on social media, send it to a friend, a loved one, someone you think could find this helpful. It means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening, and I will see you soon.